Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm very happy to be with the Linux founder today, Ape Guru. So Linex is a MetaDex platform that is available on Linea. And so today we speak about growth and a bit about the Linea Exponent campaign as well. So can you please introduce yourself to the people who are listening us?
Definitely. Thanks for having me. So yeah, I'm a guru known in Web3, but also Ignacio in real life. That's how my mom called me. I've been building on DeFi for the past 5 years. I always loved capital efficiency, DEXs, being like in that space for quite a while. I started with ApeSwap on BNB chain, and lately I've been focusing on Linux, on the Linea ecosystem. I'm personally mostly like a technical founder. I like solidity. I like to develop. But I also, as a founder, I work very closely on the growth side. I work very closely with my team. So I'm kind of like a jack of many trades. And I always like to meet new people, go to conferences, spend time, and also take the time to have like spaces like this and interviews is something that I really enjoy.
Nice. So yeah, thanks a lot for joining us today. So I will briefly intro the Linea Exponent campaign for people with us. So Linea Exponent campaign is basically a 3 month growth program that we launched on Linea. And so the goal is to have to incentivize dApps to build on the chain. And so basically for that, we offering $250,000 in rewards. And so those rewards will be distributed based on real and verified user transaction. So meaning we have something called proof of humanity and people can verify themselves. And we have a leaderboard with all the transactions that are generated from dApps without proof of humanity and with proof of humanity. And the goal is at the end of the campaign, we reward dApps who generated the most transaction. And so we also offer different things like a liquidity boost for project on DEX, dev tools. If you are a developer tooling project, we're very happy to help you with some info and Web3 host credit. But yeah, and so in this context, I wanted to speak with you a bit how you can grow a dApp because I think it would be very interesting for developers because as a developer, when you start creating a product, you're usually very good at tech, you're very good at a lot of things, but maybe you're not very good at growth, right? And it's very, very important. So yeah, do you have for example, can you just walk us through the journey for Linux in terms of growth? How did you distribute the app? What was the starting point?
Definitely. Yeah, so I would start a little bit earlier because I think that over the past years, like growth on DeFi and crypto in general has changed a lot. On the past, I think that a lot of growth and communication, I think that the market was more like, I don't know, more retail focused. There were like more users, more like B2C, and it was like kind of like a different approach. It was like mass marketing, find the consumer, and so on. However, over the past 2, 3 years, something that I noticed is that it's no longer so retail focused. I think the market is way more institutionalized, and also like there's like a lot of people that are like full time in the industry. They are not necessarily not everyone is builder, but we have a lot of like advanced DeFi users. That's what they do for a living. We have whales, we have institutions, and so on. So the approach materially changed from like just like try to find, I know, 20,000, 100,000 of retail users to actually found your power users to find the people that are actually gonna be there. They're gonna provide liquidity. They're gonna use your dApp. So under this train of thought, like what we found was the most efficient is actually working directly with partners. It's like a lot of work of connecting with people, connecting directly, networking. So for us, it was like when we first went to Linea, for example, the first step for us was, well, of course, like try to meet everyone working at the ecosystem. For myself, I personally like started traveling, started going to the Linea events, started meeting the people with the team. And with them, we worked together to also understand what was happening in the ecosystem, where were the other builders, how we can collaborate with the other builders. And these ways, we create like a strong communication system between all of us, where we can propel the ecosystem together. At the end of the day, I think there are many cases where, like, particularly nowadays, where the most powerful approach is like B2B or also B2B2C, in the way that you, let's say you find another protocol on the Linea ecosystem, let's say a lending network, and say, hey, let's create a campaign together so I can access the community of the lending network, they can access the community of Linux, or potentially we can access their own liquidity providers, and we can like share resources, knowledge, the people we know. So for us, that was one of the most effective growth tactics, which is something that personally for me was very different. In the past, when I worked for DeFi, it was more like, more like shotgun, more hype. Hey, like you suddenly have like a lot of TVL, a lot of users. Many times, like it was like so fast that it's like it wasn't even like you won't even know where all of this growth is coming from, because like the market was flooded with users, with crazy farmers and so on. But now I think like what is required is a little bit of a more tailored approach, like finding your consumer, talking directly with them, understanding what they want, working how you can potentially serve them. And in many cases, this comes in the form of liquidity providers, particularly when we're talking about DeFi applications. And here I think that you have like potentially like two sides of the coin, because on one end, you need to have sufficient liquidity to provide a usable app, to generate revenue, to create a sustainable product, which in most cases comes from B2B and tailored deals, going to the conferences, making partnerships. But on the other end, you also need to have like a strong community. Like the liquidity price is not going to be on the Discord, on the Telegram, talking, making questions, hyping it up. So you still need to like nurture your community, make yourself known, get people excited about your building. And this is a completely different approach. And here there are many venues that can be explored. Of course, the most common venue nowadays, it's still Twitter. There's like a lot of inbound and a lot of flow of users that can be onboarded via Twitter. For this, we have like onboarded brand ambassadors that constantly produce educational content about what we are doing to lower the barrier of entry, to educate our community. We also have like a strong set of moderators that are always there answering questions, creating activities on our Discord. And recently we started a new initiative that we call Roar to Earn, which is kind of like an in-house InfoFi platform. So basically, our community can, they can submit different type of contents via articles on Medium, posts on Twitter. They submit it into the Roar to Earn campaign, and then we have a scoring system and a leaderboard of content creators, and then we distribute rewards to these content creators. This not only helps spread the word and get more eyes into us, but it also provides like a platform for the community to stay engaged. It's like they are rewarded for being active community members. They are rewarded for knowing how the protocol works, for sharing their thoughts, for sharing their content. So this creates like a positive flywheel between the users. And I think these are like the two biggest like growth tactics of any crypto project, which are in most cases not the same. On one hand, you need to have your liquidity bootstrapping strategy, and on the other hand, you need to have your community building strategy. And when you put this together, you can find growth, but like it's very hard to get one without the other. So sometimes you face this chicken and egg problem. But I think that is something that can be accomplished. I think that like, for example, like in many cases, like let's say you're working with a liquidity provider is like, hey, like I'm not gonna provide liquidity because you don't have a community, or like the community is not there because you don't have liquidity. And this can potentially be solved by like something that also we see a lot in this market is like testnet campaigns, pre-launch campaigns, alpha releases, and stuff like that. So you can start like building the community, and you can get a community to start testing your product. They can speculate over how the product launch is gonna go. And this way you can start creating like more noise, more hype, more active engagement which in turn can be used as leverage to expand your partnership reach and how you can potentially onboard liquidity providers.
Nice. I mean, that's a very, very detailed answer. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I guess like this liquidity providing thing, like how do you, yeah, like you attract liquidity providers, I think based on also like your reputation, right? So is it like a really like do they really like care a lot about like having a big community first when you want to acquire like a new liquidity provider? Or do they care more about like external factor? I would say like other liquidity provider, like audits, maybe, and like other factors, or is it like also very, very community driven from what you feel?
That's a great question. Of course, as you mentioned, audit security is a huge factor for any liquidity providers. Here you have like audit, also time on market, like how much TVL have you secured over how long. It's also gonna determine how safe the protocol is. And of course, you also have like the reputation, how long have you been personally in the market? Have you ever experienced any loss of funds in the past? Which, well, I'm gonna touch wood and say that over the past 5 years, I never experienced any loss of funds with, well, quite a lot of volume and TVL over the past years, and I expect to keep it this way for many, many more years, hopefully forever, touching wood again. But then also the liquidity provider, and well, maybe this is gonna sound potentially like a little bit cannibalistic, but they also want to see community. They also want to see potential buyers for the incentives. They want to see traction. They want to see that, okay, like if the liquidity provider, for example, is getting your token as an additional incentive, they are going to inevitably ask, okay, what's the token utility? Like, how is this token used? Why should I hold the token? But why should someone else hold the token? And by building a community that is excited about what you're building, excited about your token, excited about your utility, you give this extra reassurance to the liquidity provider that there's going to be someone else that is going to be there holding the banner, holding the flag of what you are building, which again helps like seal the deal in a way.
I see. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I guess it's very, very useful. And yeah, because like sometimes like when you approach just like LPs as is, you don't think about the community aspect. So I think it's a really great point to note for that.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think a lot of
one.
people forget about the community, and I think that our industry, even though I said that right now is very institutionalized in terms of how you onboard liquidity, still a very community-driven industry. Like you don't see this on Web2, you don't see founders talking on the Discord, on the Telegram. That doesn't happen in other industries, and I think it's something that is very from our industry. I think something we should be very proud of, like how grassroots is, how you see like the founders showing up, talking directly to the community. And I think it's something that it really makes the difference all around, not just for onboarding liquidity, but also creating like a more symbiotic relationship with everyone that surrounds you and surrounds the product. Because also not only on the growth aspect, but outside of growth, by being more in touch with your community, you can also make more informed decisions about the direction, about what the people want and how they're going to use the product, which is also inevitably going to lead to growth. And when we think about growth, product-driven growth, I think that here, like a great example is Hyperliquid. Like they just built a great product, and that is another way to approach growth, which is like maybe it's potentially not the hardest, because like building like the best product in such a competitive industry is not something that you do in one night. But also, like, I mean, if your product is objectively better than everything else that is out there, I also think that users will simply come to you.
Yeah, I see. I agree. Yeah, if your product is better, especially for I mean indexes for LPs would be like the APY that you can offer, or like reducing like impermanent costs. So yeah, I see. Maybe I have one last question, because I guess you already gave like a very detailed answer, which would be like, do you have like one brain teaser that you remember, or like some kind of like growth trick that you used in the past, and that you could share?
Let me think. So, I mean, I think it depends a lot on which stage you are. But I guess going back to like the chicken and egg problem, where you have the liquidity provider demanding you that you have liquidity, and the community demanding you that you have community, and the community demanding that you have liquidity. It's like, okay, how do I solve this chicken and egg problem? Like a very easy way to do this is with the quest campaigns like Interact, Silly, Galaxy. Like I mean, I don't think these are like super heavy users. They are not gonna give you a lot of liquidity. They are maybe like more like farmers. They are not like high value users, but you can get like a burst of community engagement by creating like a silly campaign and leverage this to close your liquidity providers deals by having like the best timing and combining both efforts at the same time. Because I can imagine many builders and many founders would struggle with this chicken and egg problem. And I think these questing platforms that is like, okay, join my Discord, send a message, follow me on Twitter, like, comment, etc., is gonna basically drive your engagement up, which is gonna create more credibility when you're going out there trying to close partnerships.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. It's a very, very great answer. Yeah, so thanks a lot for being here today with us, Ape Guru, and yeah, wishing the best for the growth of Linux in the future. And yeah, like all developers, please go see Exponent, register your dApp, and use those advice to grow your app, and you will get rewarded. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for the invitation. Thank you.